Episode 12, part 2 of the 3 Quarters podcast. Today we're shooting from the home of rugby, Rugby Football Union, East Africa Grounds on Gong Road. And it's only right that we also mention the road to Japan, because we've been singing about this. The 15th team needs our support. They're about to embark on a challenge, our monumentous challenge, where they're going to be pursuing a World Cup qualification to Japan. And we indeed think and are very positive that these guys are going to they're going to make it to Japan in 2019. This is Ngash, your official noisemaker.
Joro, the geek in charge.
And we're going to part 2, man. Bad guy of the week. So, Joro, there were a couple of guys who stood out for me.
They're contenders.
They are contenders. Davis Chenge, who ended up getting the man of the match. There was Shaban Ahmed, who played at number 10 for KCB. You had Brian Omondi, who scored 2 tries. He was breaking the lines. His running lines were very pretty.
Charles Oko had a really good game.
Chachilo Oko had a very good game. You have, Darwin will always have a good game. He'll put up his numbers.
He's very consistent.
Yeah, right. Peter Kilonzo on the other wing, on the open side wing, also had a good game. But for me, my bad guy of the week was Rocky Aguko, the eighth man for KCB. He had a couple of good pickup runs. He was breaking the first tackle. His work on the breakdown was excellent. So I feel like for me, the bad guy of the week this week was
definitely. And you could see that guy was never being taken down on the first
on the first tackle.
It was only the second or third. Powerful display, very powerful.
Powerful display by Rocky Aguko. So Rocky Aguko,
bad guy of the week.
Yeah, congratulations for getting a 3 Quarters podcast bad guy of the week. We move on to the next place where we try to educate our listeners about rugby, and today is going to be box kick. So I'll let the geek in charge take it and tell us what a box kick is.
Okay, so box kick, basically this is it's a high over the shoulder kick.
Yes.
This is usually performed by the scrum half, and mostly when they're on the short side of the pitch, which means when they're playing next to the touchline. So what happens is that it can be done in either defensive or attacking situations, but mostly in defensive situations. So this is where there's a breakdown, either a scrum down or a line out or a breakdown, a ruck. So what happens is the nature of a box kick is that first of all it can catch the defense on the back foot, because usually they're expecting the scrum half to distribute the ball to the back. So what you need to know, if you are attempting to take a box kick, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. You have to have the correct technique. So first thing is the eyes and hands. You have to keep your eye on the ball and you place your hands on the ball facing the direction that you're intending to kick to. Then also we have balance. That is very important. You have to put your strong foot forward. The balance, you have to have that balance, because there's no run up. There's no run up. You know, to generate that power on a kick, usually guys make a run up. But this is a standing still kick. So once you have the right balance, you have to put the ball angle properly. So either you can kick it, most effective way of kicking a box kick is kicking the nose of the ball to generate as much power without the run up. And now you have to get the trajectory right, because you, like I said, it's done next to the touch line. So you have to be very accurate with the trajectory, so that you keep it in play or to gain ground. So that's basically a box kick for you.
And most of the times you normally find that when they're doing the box kick, when a scrum half is doing a box kick, he'll want to keep it still on the short side. So to create pressure of whoever of the 3 Quarters team is going to be receiving it under the high ball. And his wingers will be off, or his centers will be off.
So there has to be that communication between him and his wingers. So that he can't chase it himself. So the winger, because his pack is usually in front of him. So he'll call on the wingers to chase down and put pressure on either the fullback or the 14 who's receiving that ball.
Or the 11 who's receiving that ball. Well, that's Rugby 101. You've had it from the geek in charge himself, box kick. So next time when you see it on a rugby pitch, don't ask what this guy is doing. It's called a box kick. We go into high school rugby in Toro. I was reading this week that the seeding and the polling for the Nairobi County is already out for the games, for the annual rugby games for this year. And shockingly, or not shockingly, maybe in the last few years it's been changing. The dynamics in Nairobi.
The status quo has changed in Nairobi.
So Upper Hill are seeded first. alongside the other top guys, of course,
Ofafa, Laser Hill,
those guys.
Yeah.
The perennial guys, the Lenanas and
Nairobi School,
St. Mary's are not featuring in the top tier.
So that coming from when we used to play in high school, like back in 06, we're all guys. As in, Upper Hill could not take a sniff of Nairobi School. You'd never hear of Fafa Jericho playing. You'd never hear of Laser Hill. Now they're the dominant force. I'm wondering what has happened in the past 10, 11 years to have such a big overturn of things.
I'm not too sure, but I'm saying allegedly for Nairobi School especially, the management or the guys who are in charge of running the school right now are not keen on promoting sports, and therefore the patch machine has really dwindled over the last 10 years, which is very sad, taking into account the history behind high school rugby in Kenya.
I was talking about it with a friend of mine who's from Nairobi School, and he was saying that in fact the alumni, because rugby fraternity has how many guys from Nairobi School? They should take it upon themselves and intervene. Go back to the school and ask what is this, because a school like Nairobi School, you can't just let such a that, as in it goes synonymous. History. It has to keep going. So I think maybe the alumni should come together and address that issue.
But I think, on the other hand, it's also a good thing for rugby because the game is expanding. If it gets to Upper Hill and Ofafa Jericho, who are just guys of football, and Laser Hill, who are synonymous with basketball back in the day. So I think it's a good thing for the game to expand, but at the same time, we need that competition. So therefore, I think the alumni of these schools that we're mentioning, Nairobi School, Lenana, Nairobi School, St. Mary's, should address the issue and maybe get rugby back to where it was.
And like you said, it's a good thing because now rugby is not being perceived as a
Babylonian
game. It's a Babylonian game. Even guys for Fafa Jericho, guys, now if rugby can spread to Eastlands, as in, because most guys who play rugby are from this side of town. So it's good. It's actually a really good thing that Ofafa and Upper Hill and the likes are coming up, so that the game of rugby spreads at the grassroots levels, which is in basically high school.
Exactly, and those guys are the big boys too. And guys on this side are guys of pudding.
So cake and custard.
On to some sad news in the rugby world. Earlier on in the week, there was news from South Africa that famous Springbok number 9 used Van der Westhuizen had passed on. Used, I think, was a big name in rugby. I think personally, for me, I watched his latter stages, 1999 and 2003 World Cup, but I think Used was the best scrum half to come out of South Africa. What do you think about Used's position in the game of rugby, the global game of rugby?
I think he was like an ambassador for the number 9 position. He had heart, he had heart, he was small, 88 kilos, but this guy, he was not intimidated by anyone. He was a leader by example. And there's an iconic picture of him taking down John Alomu in the World Cup.
It's funny it's funny you say that. And Francois Pienaar, the guy who captained South Africa to the 95 World Cup, he was saying that they were watching the semi-finals. New Zealand had just played England, and Lomu ran over Mike Catt and the whole England team to score 4 tries. So now this John Alomu is the man of the tournament. How do you handle him? So on one of those moves, even used Van der Westhuizen talks about it. It was off a line out to Andrew Martens, and Andrew Martens drifted to the line, and the switch to John Alomu, a gap opens. Francois Pienaar can't get him. Joel Stransky, the player, can't get him. So this guy has a clear path to the try line. Who shows up? Used.
The biggest man versus the smallest man.
And Used takes him down.
Put him down,
It's so sad that he was diagnosed with motor neuron disease in 2011. And basically what it does, that is your muscles systematically shut down. So at the point when Used was dying, he could not, he was on a wheelchair. And the good thing about rugby, and I always say rugby is a great game, is the support.
Guys came together and they started the J9 Foundation. Creating awareness about motor neuron disease. So even in his dying days, he was still making an influence on this world. And that's the power of rugby, like we keep on talking about.
Yes, and also just the camaraderie and how these guys, all those legends, George Gregan, Justin Marshall, all those guys were there to support Just van der Westhuizen. So Just van der Westhuizen, definitely a great rugby great. Go on to Six Nations. Yesterday our feature game was England versus Wales. England coming out on top, 21-16.
I'm loving these Six Nations. So tight. I'm telling you, I really appreciate games when they're tight.
Yes.
Because you're kept on your feet the whole time. Because this game was...
It was end-to-end stuff. Elliot Davis, I think that's his name. The England winger scoring a try
last minute.
In the last.
And it was a counter off, because Wales, all they needed to do was keep that ball.
Yes.
But their fly half.
No, it wasn't the fly half. It was one of the Jonathan Davis. He kicked it
straight into the middle. And that's one thing. As a fullback, if you're clearing, please take it out.
That's
because now they were in the lead.
Yes.
He kicked it to the fullback.
Yes.
Counter.
Quick fast. Pap, Owen Farrell, George Ford, Elliot Davis,
try. Game done,
man. The other results are Italy losing heavily to Ireland at 10-63 in Italy. And today we have France versus Scotland being played in France, and it's going to be happening at 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. On the 12th of...
That's today, Sunday 12th of February. So that's it in Six Nations. From the Three Quarters podcast crew, we always urge you to like our Facebook pages, to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and more importantly, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is Nashi, official noisemaker.
Joro, the Geek in Charge.
Stay tuned for part 3.
Cheers.